You are now listening to the most electrified and vilified podcast on the net, Hot Topix Podcast. Let's get this party started. Welcome back to Hot Topix Podcast for part 2 of the election 2024.
Ooh.
We're talking about the presidency.
The level of stress with this one.
Yeah. Last we left off with
healthcare. We were going to talk about healthcare.
We talked about immigration.
Yeah, immigration. Right. That was the last thing.
That's a failed policy. Everybody knows it, except for people who base it on fear and bigotry. So we're going to go into healthcare. This is big for a lot of people because we have people now who need medical care and they're being denied.
Yeah.
You know,
Big Pharma is charging you whatever they want for prescriptions.
There is no reason a drug in this country should cost $10,000 per month.
None whatsoever. None.
Especially when you get it from other places. I'm going to tell you a real quick story about our healthcare system here. So in the United States, they don't want us to import drugs from Canada.
Right.
Canada's not a third world country.
Right.
UK's not a third world country. Right. So I was listening to a doctor. The doctor told me this. She said her patient was over in Africa, right, and ended up getting an injury, and she had to get treatment there. She got the medication that she needed, a continual medication there, and it cost her $2, right?
$2 whole dollars.
$2 whole dollars. So $2 American dollars. She gets back to the United States, and she has to, go get her medication again to Kenya, whatever, and it cost her $100.
That's ridiculous.
Yes, $100. So the thing with healthcare here is that, they don't want the outside companies competing because I'm just, let me say it in a nice way. Let's say they can't control the quality of it, or, they can't.
Like you said, Canada isn't a third world country.
Right.
They can control.
But this is their reasoning.
What they think they taking over there? Like Fruity Pebbles or something? They taking Flintstone vitamins or something?
Oh, let me tell you. When I was in the Navy, when we had our underway replenishment, so we had supply ships that come out, and we get supplies from these ships. The best ships, because we would get it from the Canadian ships. Oh my God! Talking about, you mentioned cereal. Oh, they had all the good stuff. They had all the good stuff. We would get like Flavor Aid. They had Kool-Aid. They had all the good cereal. They had, that whole argument. I'm not buying it.
Right.
I'm not buying it. You can't get stuff from Canada to reduce the prices of drugs here.
Right.
That's one. So that's a problem. But when we talk about healthcare, when Obama, that was one of his big things. He had Obamacare to try to get everybody, covered.
Some health care, yeah.
So the premise of that, the more people pay into it, the cheaper it is, and you get a competitive market to lower things. So this is how spiteful some places were. So the states had to do it too, right? So that basically you sign up in your states. Some states rejected it, didn't want.
Yeah.
And it was the states that had the high uninsured rates of those southern red states, right? Okay, so that was a big thing for Obama, and that was a thing that they've been trying to do for 70 some odd years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So during the Trump administration, he said he had this big plan. It was a really big plan.
It was going to replace Obamacare.
It's going to be called, it was Trump Care.
Trump Care, right.
And it's going to be really, really good, and how he always says everything, right?
Right. It's going to be the best.
Yes. He said that on the campaign trail. So when he got in, guess what he had? Guess what he produced? Goose eggs. Nothing. He had nothing. There was no health care plan. He didn't have one. For 4 years he was in there. He didn't even present one, or they had nothing.
Or even say we're working out a plan.
Zippo. Yeah. Nothing. What they did was him and the Republicans tried 70 times to repeal Obamacare. Now this is, okay, that's a political thing, whatever. They just didn't want people to get, they didn't want their political opponents to have a feather in that cap. So at your expense. But here's the thing.
Okay, so, but 70 times, all of that energy, you could have came up with your own plan.
Or you could have actually worked to get something moving.
That's what I'm saying. You could have come up with your own plan if you're going to try to repeal it for 70 times.
Nothing. Okay. So Now, here's the thing, right? During the presidential debate, the moderator asked about your health care plan.
Mm-hmm.
And this is for everybody to see. After all those years of saying it was going to be really, really good and how he trashed Obamacare, what did he say? Well, we don't have a plan. We have a concept.
Yes, we have a concept.
And he said, well, if we ever have something that's better than Obamacare, we will present
We'll put it out, yeah.
So you just said you couldn't beat Obamacare. Right? Okay,
right.
so that's the Trump and the Republicans' idea for your health care. They score goose eggs on this. 0. They didn't have a plan. They don't want you to have a plan. Zippo.
Yeah.
Okay, so enough said. Now, let's see what the Harris, if they're going to change anything. Let's see. They covered gains are a great part due to Biden-Harris administration's continuous efforts to increase access to affordable, quality health care, especially in underserved communities, and underscore the importance of the Inflation Reduction Act's tax breaks that lower health care costs and make marketplace plans more affordable. The Department of Health and Human Services, I think that's what it's called, announced a new law, or actually not a policy, historic $500 million investment in navigators who actually go out there and help people throughout the country, even in remote areas, to sign up for health care.
Oh, great.
And particularly in underserved communities. So their plan is to actually make Obamacare
bigger
by going out there and getting these people
in some of these areas. And she also talked about her plan for home health care, which is really, really important. And that is having someone come in and care for your sick or elderly family member, which is really helpful for people who are caregivers. Because like when my mom was sick, I still had to go to work every day. I would go to work every day. I would go to the hospital right after work. Nothing was getting done in my household because
nobody ever thinks about that until it happens to them.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Even with my father, he obviously elderly, he got sick, he had cancer, whatever. And it was the cost of care.
Yeah.
Yeah. My sister, same thing.
Yeah.
Working, coming home, take care of him.
Yep.
And, it was, and I'm in a different state, but
right.
That was a huge burden on her, and it was very expensive.
Very expensive.
So for those who, if you're, hopefully somebody's going to be elderly later on,
right?
Whether it be your parents or you yourself, take that into consideration. So don't be so selfish and go with a guy that has no plan, instead of somebody who has an actual plan to help everybody,
right?
Especially those who need it.
Absolutely,
if you're making $100 million a year, obviously
you
good.
You good. You can hire somebody to take care of your elderly family members and not technically have to go to work every day if you don't want to. That's
a no-brainer.
Well, you know what I found interesting though? Like they would do these man on the streets interviews and people would say, do you support Obamacare? Oh no, I hate Obamacare. I don't want anything to do with Obamacare. Well, how about the Affordable Care Act?
Yes.
Oh yeah. I'm down for that. That sounds interesting. That sounds like something I could be with. And I just look at people like,
it's not the law or whatever. It's the Obama.
It's
part.
The Obama. That little bit of name that they said it's Obamacare. They were just like, no, I'm not for that at all. Are you for trying to have affordable health care? Oh, absolutely. What about the Affordable Care Act?
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
That works.
That.
That works. Yeah.
And it's sad.
It's very sad.
That's just telling how people you would cut off your nose and spike your face.
That's exactly what we do. That's exactly what we do.
Lord have mercy. Here's one for you.
Why is it for me?
Because I'm a man and you're a woman.
Okay. I'm listening.
Reproductive rights.
Ooh, child. I'm gonna pull back to the grandmama. Lord Jesus.
Men. Let me just say something to the men real quick. Men. We don't have laws out here telling them what we could do with our bodies.
Yeah, we about to go to church. Preach.
We don't have any people out here telling us we can't get the Viagra, Cialis, and all the, what's that new one that Club Shay Shay, the Rose Sparks. We don't have that. Right. So this is just my personal opinion on abortion, and it's not just abortion.
It's health care. It's women's health
in general,
right? Reproductive health.
rights. That includes what's called in vitro fertilization.
Yes.
Mind your business. It is not your business. If you don't like abortions, wrap it up. Period.
Get a vasectomy.
Even for me, exactly. Even for me, like, if I don't like the whole idea of abortions, my thing is I'm not going to force my opinion on you.
Right.
And here's another thing too. You're not volunteering to take care of that child. I want you to have a child, but we're not going to help you take care of it.
Right.
And even though if it's a risk to your life,
right.
At some point you got to say, what's good for me, I'll keep good for me. Right. And mind your business when it comes to no men. If they had a vote on that, it should be no men that had a hand in voting for that. It should have been all women. Same thing would apply if it was something to do with the men. No man should be telling a woman what she can do with her body, period. Whether you like it or not, if you don't like abortion or IVF, then don't participate, period. That's easy. So now you have a candidate who stacked, and I'm still sore about that. I'm very the
I'm upset
Supreme
about
Court
that too.
With people that said in their
that lied.
Interview,
Let's
say
they lied.
Okay?
Put it out there.
When it came to Roe versus Wade,
we're gonna keep Roe versus Wade intact.
It's the law of the land. It
land.
has precedents and everything in the world, right? And what happens when he got there and they got that 6-3 majority?
Yeah,
they took it away.
Yep.
Now he's going to say that, well, let's leave it up to the states to decide. Why should the state decide what happens to your personal health? Where does that happen?
Well, clearly
we're here.
It's happening here because we're here. Because we're absolutely here. And I can't really add anything to what you just said. I really can't add anything to it because that's exactly right. And I'm just astounded.
Well,
I'm astounded.
Let's go further. Leave it up to the states.
Right.
This is their idea. Leave it up to the states to decide. And if a state decides, well, no, we don't want abortion in our state, whatever. Okay, as a woman, let me go over to the next state to get it. They want that to be illegal and actually charge the physician and the woman,
and
put
the
you
woman
in jail for going out of state for care.
So what's happening is we are losing doctors.
Yes.
Because doctors are like, I don't want to go to jail. And I participate in a Hippocratic oath.
Right.
I'm not supposed to do any harm, but I'm also putting myself in a point at the position where I could go to jail, risk my freedom, change my family dynamic. If I'm arrested,
money,
the
whole livelihood,
for providing care that I should be providing.
Now, here's another thing too. Just to make it clear, they're saying that the state should be able to tell you if you have a minor who is sexually assaulted, raped, or a victim of incest, both, that you should, it was a gift of God. It's some of the stupid shit that people say, right?
Yeah.
It's still a gift of God, and that person should have that child.
Yeah. So you re-traumatize them.
Yeah. Over and over
again. And I saw a meme that said, you know why you can't claim a fetus on your taxes? Because it's not a person yet.
Yeah. Oh, so this is funny. For those Christian conservatives that say all lives matter and all that type of stuff, okay, that's fine. What does the Bible say? The Bible says life begins at first breath.
Okay.
That's what the Bible says.
Okay.
So miss me with the whole I'm a Christian conservative and we have to da-da-da. You can't pick and choose. If you want to say because you're a Christian conservative, what does the Bible say?
Right.
The Bible says first breath. Okay. There goes your point on that. Is out.
Well, I mean, if that's who you are, take this baby. If that's who you are, take this baby and you take care of it.
Yeah.
You know, and you provide school for
I don't
it.
want my tax dollars going to these
Absolutely.
kids. If they can't,
Absolutely.
if you're not, what's that saying they say? If you can't feed them, don't breed them or something along those lines.
Okay.
But you're forcing people.
But you're forcing women to have these babies.
So that's your choice. If you, as a woman or a man who really cares about freedom, and that's another thing they always talk about, the freedom. You can't make me take a
COVID test.
And
but you gonna force me to have a baby.
Yeah.
A whole person.
That is hypocrisy to the highest extent.
Yeah.
So for anybody out there who's choosing to vote for a particular candidate because they believe in, they're against reproductive health and pro-choice or whatever, you got to think of it this way. It's
not pro-choice. I'm sorry. They're pro-life. They're pro-life.
You have to look at it this way. It's not your life to give. It's theirs, and you shouldn't be making decisions based on them because one, your reasoning, it already blew that up. You can't use the Bible on that. If you say that you wanted if you was one who opened your mouth about those immunization shots for COVID, and you're talking about
wearing a mask,
STFU, you're a hypocrite and you have no type of credibility when it comes to this.
I just can't believe it. Like my whole life there was Roe v. Wade. I cannot believe that it actually happened. And people's like, well, you're not having kids. I have granddaughters. I have nieces and cousins and people who I'm concerned about. And it's not just the abortion thing. Like you said, it's reproductive health.
Right.
They're closing clinics that people would get birth control or like you said, in a case of incest, maybe this girl is being raped consistently by her father or her uncle,
right,
but can keep it together enough to run to the clinic and get STD testing and get birth control. So she may not be forced to have this child if it happens.
Oh, and I don't have the stats in front of me, but I was browsing through them. There's been a lot of negative press coming out from women having deaths or serious health issues because they couldn't get that care.
Right.
Women
are dying again.
Yeah. And even if let's say I have to go to Delaware, what if I can't afford to get to Delaware? It's not like it's around the corner.
Yeah. It's a whole lot in that. And you got to do it within a certain amount of time.
Right.
You only have a certain amount of time to make this happen. So, and he's running around telling people, women are having abortions in the 8th month. Nobody's doing that. Nobody is doing that.
No, wait a minute. This was the other one they were saying. They were saying that they were having the babies and aborting them after birth.
Yeah.
Basically leaving them on the table to die.
Right. Like nobody's doing that either. No, just stop it. Stop it with this. It's propaganda. That's what that is. Stop it. So I am just devastated that we are here again. Like we are here again. And like you said, if men were having babies, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
If men were having babies, our population would die out. I'll be the first to admit. My family lines ends with me.
But, there are ways, like you said, if you don't want an abortion, don't have one. Get a vasectomy, wear a condom. There are things that men can do to help this process. And one of the things that men can do is vote for somebody who is not going to tell you what to do with your body.
Bingo.
So I'm going to leave that right there because it's going to piss me off and I'm going to be,
And don't be trying to curb my access to Rose Sparks. Or what's the other one?
I'm not talking to you. I'm not even entertaining this shenanigans.
Hey, that's reproductive health.
Shenanigans, foolishness, and nonsense.
Let me ask you something. For anybody, your boss, head of a company, principal of a school, mayor, or whatever, is character a concern, or does character come into play when you had to select?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think well, let me say for my boss, I'm kind of removed from them. You're my employer. We're not friends. I want to make sure that you're not killing people. But for the most part, I'm not too concerned with your character.
If you were selecting
Oh, if I had to select,
you're selecting a CEO.
Yeah, character would have a lot to do with it.
But you do think is important.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, character has a lot to do with it. I agree.
Character for a police chief?
Oh, absolutely.
Fire chief?
Yes.
Okay. So now we have one of the biggest, most powerful offices in the United States.
Yes.
Right? So character is important.
Is important.
It should be important to most people. Right?
Yeah.
So here is a situation where we have two candidates. One is a former district attorney, right? Worked in the court system. Was that the
judicial system?
She was a attorney general, and she was, so that's the executive, I believe. And then she was a senator.
Yes.
For the state of California.
Yep.
The legislative branch, and then on to the vice presidency. Okay. Now, mind you, the vice president doesn't have a legitimate job. There's nothing in there that says this is what you do as a vice president. Right. Is you work at the direction of the president. Except that you're the president of the Senate and only have a vote when there's a 50-50 tie.
Right. When it's a split. Right.
Exactly. And she's done that a few times.
Right.
You know.
Good
all right. So character matters, morals matter, all that type of stuff. Right. So we have one who was what I just mentioned, and then you have another one who is a convicted felon, twice impeached the last time he had the job. And there's only been a handful of people, not even a handful of people who had actually been impeached. I think it was 3,
really,
maybe 4.
Really?
Let me see. Trump, Clinton.
I don't know.
And it was maybe 1 or 2 others. All right, so 4. Nobody has been impeached twice. In a 1 year, in a 1 term, twice. Okay, somebody who has been found responsible for rape, that's had over, I think it was 16 or more. And we'll get into that. Many allegations of sexual assault or rape. Okay, someone who was found responsible for fraud to the tune of nearly $4.5 million. Someone who has been found guilty in one state for 39. Let's say 30 plus felonies.
Yep.
Right, convicted felon, who is currently indicted for several other felonies in Georgia, who is listed as co-conspirator number 1 for other felonies in Arizona, Michigan, Colorado, Pennsylvania, and that may be it. But
known adulterer.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that part.
But just because he cheated on his first wife with his second wife, and his second wife with his third wife, and his third wife with a porn star, does not make him a serial cheater. Oh, maybe it does.
Okay. I was waiting for you to fix that. Don't forget insurrectionist.
Who that's other things he's doing. Incited an insurrection, who has known to say misogynistic, bigoted, racist, homophobic,
xenophobic.
Definitely xenophobic statements, and really disrespected every demographic in this country, except for white males or females,
powerful white males.
Not even in the ones who kissed the ring.
Oh, okay.
So
you're right,
because he's said some things about some other people.
That's true, because he talked bad about Ted Cruz's wife. So you're right.
And Mitch McConnell's wife. So this is a guy who's all right. So that's your choice. Now, let's see what the people who know him better say. Okay, and we'll leave it at that.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody on the cabinet, the first go round, is just coming out saying like, yeah, he's not fit.
He's not fit, right?
He's not fit.
Okay. So the New York Times reported former Donald Trump administration officials call him a liar and a fascist. Okay, those are big words.
Those are
we
big
knew
words.
the liar part. Everybody knows that.
Right.
He lies about everything big and small because he knows more than
Everybody
about
everything. Yes.
So, just recently, they had Epstein.
Oh, okay.
What's his first name? I keep wanting to say Joel, but it's not Joel. It's but anyway, Epstein from Epstein Island, whatever, the billionaire, right?
The one that just killed himself?
Yeah. You remember his first name?
Oh, my brain.
Yeah, I can't.
Just
well, Epstein.
down.
They had a recording of him. He was interviewing him, and he was like, me and Trump are really, really good friends. We've been really good friends for 10 years, and we already know that he's been on the island.
Right.
Incidentally, he won't. Jeffrey Epstein.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So he said, what do you think about Trump? He says, well, as a real estate guy, he's brilliant, right? He knows how to make real estate deals, and he's good at what he does. He says, but he doesn't know anything else. He doesn't know about anything else. He said he doesn't, not history, he doesn't know much about anything else. So I thought that was kind of
okay,
hilarious.
but how much information are you going to take from Jeffrey Epstein? But they're friends.
But he was talking. He's like,
they're friends. They were friends.
So Philadelphia News, NBC 10, Donald Trump claims without evidence. This is new stuff.
Okay.
That Pennsylvania is cheating and sues Buck County now. So he's starting this stuff again.
Right.
Right.
Well, I think we all were prepared for that. I really think he is not going to say that he lost graciously.
Right.
We already know that. So he's going to start putting the little bugs in, the little dog whistles, the little bugs in people's ears. He's going to start doing things to make it look like he didn't win.
Just in case.
If he didn't win. Because nobody cheats. They only cheat when he loses. They don't cheat when he wins.
And in states that he was supposed to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. 13 former Trump White House officials signed an open letter backing up former Trump Chief of Staff John Kelly, right, who told the New York Times that Trump fits the definition of fascist. This is the person who worked closely with him.
Yeah.
Right. He said, "We applaud General Kelly for highlighting in stark details the danger of second Trump term. Like General Kelly, we did not take the decision to come forward lightly. This is what's written in the letter. We are all lifelong Republicans who served our country. However, there are moments in history where it becomes necessary to put country over party. This is one of those moments." Okay, those are the 13 former Trump White House officials who signed a letter.
Right.
You know how hard that is to get people to go against their
13,
party.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and these are not just run of the mill people, right? So this is retired U.S. Marine Corps General Kelly, right? He was the Secretary of Homeland Security, and he was appointed White House Chief of Staff, during the 2 years of Trump's, thing, whatever. So he said, this is from a book that journalist Bob Woodward had. He said, Kelly called Trump an idiot and the head of a crazy town administration.
Oh my gosh.
He says recently he said he fit into the general definition of fascist and certainly prefers the dictator approach to government. That should, anybody who calls himself a patriot, that should set off alarms.
Right.
Right. Now, here's another one. General Milley. He was a retired U.S. Army general, but he served as the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staffs under Trump and Biden.
Was he recently on TV talking about this? Because it was somebody on TV that had wasn't enough room on his jacket for the amount of medals. That might have been.
Well, that might have been Kelly.
And I was just like, Jesus.
But both of these guys, these are highly Republicans.
Yeah.
Right. He says, now, if you know about the Joint Chief of Staff, he is the guy who leads the Joint Chief of Staff, which is the highest person in every branch, basically, and they make decisions. Colin Powell was chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, right? He said he called Trump a fascist to the core. That's two people saying this right now, and was doing great and irreparable harm. Okay, these are not just crazy people. These are, like you said, medals on front and back.
Yeah,
right?
I was just like, I don't know how he put that jacket on. It's got to weigh a ton, all the medals on that thing.
But would you say if somebody that worked that closely with you, you would kind of take their, you have inside information.
Right.
So It's Mark Esper. Now, he's not a military guy, I don't think, but he served as defense secretary under Trump from July 19th through July 2019 through November 2020, when he got fired with the tweet.
No,
he did. That was pretty funny, though.
See, no, that is not funny. That shows me that you don't have any integrity, that you can't come to me face to face and say you're fired. You fired enough people on TV. You couldn't walk to this man's office and fire him
with a tweet. So he so the reason why he got fired, him and Trump clashed, obviously, and he refused to allow or engage Trump when he wanted to fire missiles into Mexico. Okay, so all those people who say that, oh, well, he didn't start any wars during his administration. Okay, because we had people with integrity that stopped him from doing stupid stuff like firing missiles into Mexico. Why would he fire missiles into Mexico? Because that was his war on drugs program.
Stop playing.
I'm not lying.
Yes, you are.
I'm not. During his tenure, Esper repeatedly clashed with Trump, refusing to send missiles into Mexico to destroy the drug labs and to deploy troops across the country amid the 2020 racial justice protests. So he wanted to use military people to address protesters, which is illegal.
The Black Lives Matter protesters.
Yes.
Because that's who was protesting mostly.
Yes.
Okay.
He publicly opposed Trump's threat to levy the military against protesters using the 1807 Insurrection Act, telling the journalists the option to use active duty forces in a law enforcement role should only be used in the most urgent and dire of situations. We are not in one of those situations. So
he was trying to do martial law.
Yes.
He was, okay.
Yes. So that's three guys these are top level people, right?
Right.
Now, James Mattis. They called him Mad Dog Mattis.
Okay.
Right? All right. So he was the first defense secretary. So he clashed with Trump over the U.S.'s treatment of allies and its approach to malign actors and strategic competitors across the world. Basically, he was pooping on NATO.
Oh, those people that he called from shithole countries?
Well, not them. His allies.
Okay. Shit. Wait a minute. What?
Yeah, he was trying.
Okay, the people who are
allies
going to help you if you need it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I bet people around the country were just looking at us like, y'all the dumbest group of people I've ever seen.
I'm looking at us as that. So he's Donald Trump. This is quoted. Donald Trump is the first president in my lifetime. He's an old guy. Who does not try to unite American people, does not even pretend to try. Instead, he tries to divide us. So he said, he also said that Trump makes a mockery of our Constitution.
Okay, so one of my kumbaya things is that I always try to find something good in people.
Okay.
So
he had the college championship team come to the White House like every president, and he served them McDonald's. And they had unlimited amount. They can eat whatever they wanted. That's your positive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't you expect something else when you go to the White House? Like I can buy my own damn McDonald's. Don't you expect something like
McDonald's? Yeah.
Something a little more fabulous when you go to the White House. I'm just saying.
John Bolton. I never was a fan of John Bolton. Never was a fan. He's been in government for back since Reagan. He's played a crucial role in different parts or whatever, but under Trump, he was the national security advisor.
Okay.
That's huge.
That is huge.
All right. Him and Trump reportedly Trump excluded him from the meetings about the Afghanistan war and then ousted him. All right. So he tried to, stop Trump
Wait a minute. Go back. Didn't you say national security advisor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, guess what? Guess why? He was trying to stop Trump from inviting the Taliban to, I think it was a Camp David. Yeah, to Camp David. Now, Camp David is the official place where the president goes to vacation and relax and work. Yeah. So he wanted to bring the Taliban to there, and he was like, "No, that's not good." Da 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 da. But yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm so confused.
This is what he says. This is quoted. Trump is unfit to be president and hasn't got the brains for a dictatorship.
Okay, I hear all of these people saying all of these things, but I'm gonna need to vote like they saying all of these things. I'm gonna need y'all to vote.
Well, they've come out and saying we're not supporting them, we're not voting for them, whatever.
I hear what everybody's saying. People say all of these things, but when you get behind that ballot box, nobody knows what you're voting. So I need for you to absolutely vote that way. Don't just say it, do it.
All right, here's another big one. Rex Tillerson. Now, Rex Tillerson was, I believe, Secretary of State. Yes. Now, he's a former ExxonMobil Corporation chief executive. Served as Secretary of State under Trump from February 2017 to March 2018. Now, mind you,
one makes nobody lasts for the 4 years. Now, one of those people lasted the whole 4 years.
No. And this is a guy who says he selects all the best people, but then he ends up calling them names and fires them within a couple years.
Well, clearly he did have some really good people.
Yeah, and because they didn't
go along.
Yeah. All right, so Rex Tillerson got fired with a tweet.
That is so disrespectful.
So he said Tillerson once called Trump a moron, leading Trump to challenge him to an IQ test. Tillerson said, "This is the Secretary of State. Secretary of State is probably I'm gonna say the third most important person in government, in that in the administration." So he says Trump is pretty undisciplined, doesn't like to read, doesn't read briefing reports, and then he added his understanding of global events and his understanding of U.S. history was really limited. Obviously, he always says stupid stuff,
right?
About that lets people know that you don't know history.
Right.
He said something about.
What did he say about Frederick Douglass? Something just insane.
I know he said something about during the Revolutionary War that they led in the airplanes and he's whatever. Now Mike Pence would say the second most important person in the administration says, these are people following this is the part that really gets them. Following the January 6th Capitol Hill riots in 2021, a crowd of Trump supporters chanted, "Hang Mike Pence," after Trump egged them on because he was angry Pence refused to overturn the election results in Trump's favor by refusing to certify the vote. So this is what he says. Anyone who puts themselves over the Constitution should never be president of the United States. And anyone who asks someone else to put them over the Constitution should never be president again. This is from the vice president.
Right.
Person that he worked hand in hand with. Okay, but you guys know more than him. Now, you could take this one however you want it. This is his lawyer, Michael Cohen.
Oh, Michael Cohen has a vendetta against him. That's what he said. That's what he says. You can't believe anything Michael Cohen says. He has a vendetta against me. So,
but he also knows all the inside information.
Absolutely.
And you didn't get him out of it like you got some of your other buddies. So he spilled the beans. And that happens at every level.
Again, he expects you to be loyal, but he's not loyal to you.
He was Trump's fixer. He had a tight relationship with the billionaire real estate mogul that he once described himself as Trump's attack dog with a law license. He later became a star witness. That's with the Stormy Daniels thing. Mm-hmm. In his criminal trial over his hush money payments to the adult film star Stormy Daniels. It was 34 felonies that he was found guilty of.
Okay.
Falsifying business records in an effort to interfere with 2016 election. And if you don't know, basically, they said that when he was falsifying records, so it wouldn't get out, and that would influence,
Oh, the election.
Yes.
Okay.
So it was kind of like you were doing criminal stuff anyway by fixing the books,
right?
And you didn't
tell. Right.
Okay. So he says, this is what he says about Trump. He's a cheat, which we already know, a liar, we already know, a fraud, a bully, a racist, a predator, and a con man. That sums it up.
Pretty much.
And I'm going to say this. All those things he said can be backed up with other things.
Right.
A fraud. Trump
University.
Trump University. Mm-hmm. It was another one, was a children's charity too. He got
a children's charity.
Yes, I forgot the name of it, but yeah, he got slapped on the hand with that. Obviously, the racist part, even with his buildings.
Right, he wouldn't rent to African American people. And
in the casinos, he would have them removed from the floor when important people came through. Okay?
And the exonerated 5, he wanted them hung.
Yes.
He wanted them executed.
Yes. Predator, we already know, because he got all the sexual offense accusations.
What,
and
grab him by the pussy wasn't enough for
and
you?
he admitted that. And we already know he's a bully.
Ugh.
And a con man. A fraudulent $435 million. Okay. So Cassidy Hutchinson, this is a woman.
Right.
She was an aide to Trump's last chief of staff, which is Mark Meadows. I don't know if Mark Meadows had turned on him, but she became the focus of national attention in 2022 when she testified to the January 6th House Investigative Committee that Trump knowingly directed armed supporters to storm the Capitol. Mm-hmm. So for all those who said he wasn't responsible, for all those who said, how Trump said it was a day of love.
A day of love.
Right?
They were just visitors.
She's telling you she was there. Mm-hmm. She says, as an American, I was disgusted. She says, it was unpatriotic. It was un-American. We were watching the Capitol building get defaced over a lie that he knew. Right? Okay. Now, another one. Alyssa Farah Griffin. What did she do? She was a communications director for Trump. She joined the White House in April 2020 and served until her resignation in December of that year. So she didn't stay a year.
She didn't stay a full year.
Her resignation, this is what she said. I made the decision to step down in December because I saw where this was heading, and I wasn't comfortable being a part of sharing this message to the public that the election results might go a different way. What she says about Trump now, she says she called his messaging to women creepy, infantilizing, and predicted Trump is going to try to steal the election again. This is, okay. So she didn't get fired. She quit,
left.
Right?
Yeah. Well, good for her. At least she didn't get tweeted. You're fired. So
now that's what the people say. There's some of the other things. Real quick, and we'll, all right. So he had allegations of plotting to overturn a lost election, to illegally stowing classified documents. Now remember, lock her up from emails. Yep. He had classified materials in his bathroom.
Yep.
Where people were coming in and out.
Yep.
And that's not the worst part, because some of the other people did the same thing.
Right.
But they told you about it, and you kept stonewalling them, and you refused to give it back.
Yep.
Because where they had to actually storm your place and take them. So for that, you need to be in jail. Period. Yeah. Right. So he says faces 4 criminal indictments in 4 different cities as he vies to reclaim the White House. Okay, we already knew about that. The case is totaling 91 felony counts.
Jeez.
I don't know no mobsters that got that much. 91 I don't know of any. 91 felony counts are winding through the courts at different speeds. So you got the ones in Georgia, New York, Pennsylvania, Arizona. Now, mind you, the ones in where they had the fake electors and stuff like that, they're not prosecuting him for that. The one in Colorado, I think they ran out of time.
Okay.
Because they had the jurisdiction mix up. And then just because the Department of Justice has this policy that they say, well, we don't want to double charge somebody. So because Georgia or one of the other states had charged them, they're not going to do another. Well, that ain't.
I would have got that charge if I had committed a crime in a different state. I would have got that charge.
So he should be facing felony charges in all of those states. Okay, so we'll throw that out there. Do we need to talk about the classified documents for those who don't know?
No.
That was pretty...
it's overwhelming. All of this is overwhelming.
So that's 40 felony charges in that case. right? Oh, and he tried to get his somebody else that worked for him to lie about it too. So that person's jammed up.
Did they do it or?
Oh yeah, Well, okay. So what happened? Some people actually pled guilty, and
right,
most
that's
of these
right.
cases they pled guilty. So some of them didn't.
Yeah.
He was a valet. All right, so he didn't. He said have been charged in the case, and they didn't plead guilty. So all right, whatever. Election interference, we already know about that. That one's to me, that's the easiest because you call them and say, well, I just need to find. And
you're on tape.
Yes.
I mean, everybody saw it. Everybody saw it. Which, for me, everybody just, rah, 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 wear the American flag. I'm proud to be an American. That right there tells you that you don't.
They don't care. That's
clearly.
That's fake patriotism. They don't care about the country or the institutions of this democracy. They don't. Hush money, I don't talk about that one because we already know about that when he cheated on his wife while she was pregnant, had sex with this porn star for money, and then he lied about it and he cooked the books to lie about it. That's why he got jammed up for that. Right. And he may not go to jail for that one because they maybe say, oh, he's a first time offender, blah blah blah, whatever. But my thing is this: if your lawyer went to jail for it, right, you should go to jail,
right. Because you started this whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
And think about this. If it was like, say, not a regular old murder, but if, Psycho, can you give me a ride home? Okay, sure. I'll come pick you up. You don't know that I just, stabbed Sookie over here to death.
Right.
But you giving me a ride home. Whoop, whoop, police stop. You going too. You involved now. So the lawyer going home, the lawyer going to jail. How is it that you're not?
Right.
So yeah, you will hem somebody up in different kind of ways, or they robbed the store, but little shorty stayed in the car, didn't know anything was going on, but he gonna take that charge too.
But let me tell you this: so he's not even really defending what he did.
Not at all.
He's saying that he said this, I should be able to interfere. I should be able to. His whole thing was not saying that so much he wasn't guilty, saying that he should have immunity for whatever he wanted while he was president.
Yes. Yeah. And he's never not said he didn't do any of these things. He has never not said one time, I didn't do that. Which means like y'all not
they don't care.
Y'all not seeing any of this, like, and we know that nobody is perfect. We know that, and we know that you're gonna take some candidates with some flaws. Right. That's just how it is because we're human beings, and that's how it is. But Jesus, like you can keep piling it on. It's like pile on Uno. You just keep piling it on, and at one point, do you say, "Okay, enough already. I can't do this."
So here's my problem too, and I'm gonna say this with police officers. You have police officers out here, law enforcement officers, that in their organizations, the FOP or whatever, that actually wanted to endorse Trump, right? So how could you, with good faith or any type of integrity, endorse a person who is found responsible for sexual acts, sexual rape, or fraud, or felons? Right? He's not even qualified. You got a whole group of people, police officers, captains, chiefs, whatever, whoever you are, or fraternal order of police, that says, you know what? Hey, Mr. Joe Smith, you're not eligible for this job because you did this, and that, whatever, right? So you're not qualified for the job because of your credit. You did something back in the day, whatever.
Had a DUI, like anything, little thing.
But you want to support the guy
for president.
And you're going to vote for. That's the hypocrisy. Yeah. This is the thing where it makes me. I'm so disappointed in our law enforcement officers and organizations.
I think, part of me feels like you really shouldn't be endorsing people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like some organizations shouldn't be endorsing people. I think we need to have our own opinions, our own personal opinions. Like, teachers union endorses this person and a endorses this person. And it's just like...
Well, I agree with the endorsements because most people out here, one, they're not going to take the time to find out anything about candidates. Right. So you have professional organizations, unions that actually get into legislation and track these things that benefit them. So if your whole thing about supporting Trump is about, he says he's going to push in qualified immunity. He's going to make police officers have immunity.
Oh, so that's why they supporting him.
That's not why. That's what they're going to say.
Oh, okay.
He supports police because he did this.
Right.
He says this.
Right.
What about other stuff? Did he support the officers at the Capitol House?
Right.
That was getting beat with poles and all that type of stuff.
And the one that died.
That called him weak.
Right.
Yeah. So to me, that's hypocrisy in his biggest form. Yeah. So any police agency, any police organization, any police officer, former or present, that supports Trump is a hypocrite. And I'm not going to accept the fact that you like his policies or you're conservative or whatever.
What policies? Like when you ask people, even when you, like I said, you see people on the street and you see all of these interviews and it's like, what policies does Trump have are important to you? And they're just like,
you know what it goes down to? You want to be honest? He the
people
white male
say he says what I'm feeling. No, he wants he says what everybody else wants to say, but just don't say it. That's the thing I hear the most.
And what you just said too, I've heard that too.
Yeah.
So here you have a person who says that they're not going to use the same bathrooms. They're not going to. So he's using that, and that's what they cling to. They can't say policy because if they actually knew policy, it don't benefit them.
Well, there really aren't any policies other than giving rich people tax breaks.
And you're not rich, last I checked. Well, you might be.
You might
if something get paid, but
yeah.
The thing is, so it to me is a cover for other things.
Okay,
and that's what and with that said, you can see why some people would be untrusting of police, or law enforcement, or whatever. Like if you can say go with this guy who's so disrespectful, that's racist, bigoted, everything in the world, and even a criminal.
Right.
This is not like he's an alleged criminal. He's a criminal and a con man, right? But you can support him, but at the same time, you're going to go arrest somebody on the street for shoplifting.
Right.
$10 steak.
Right.
$454 million of fraud.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
It's hard. It's just hard. It's really hard. And what my grandma used to say, people don't you don't believe shit stink until you smell it. So
you step in it.
Until you step in it. Yeah. So we gonna end up with we not, because we gonna be saying Madam President. That's what I said. We gonna be saying Madam President.
So when you talk to certain people that say, well, he's not. What did he say? And this is black folks too. What did he say that was so racist?
Yeah.
What did he say? Well, he's not racist because let me tell you.
Yes.
And I don't want to go through all of these things. This was a lot that I pulled up, but it was a lot. Quickly, I'm gonna do this fast. Let's see. Do we need to say anything about the migrants?
It just hurts my heart. It just hurts my heart.
He says that
things
and
people cheer it.
Yeah, he said they're genetically predisposed to commit crimes. Now, last time I've heard that was related to
slavery,
the Jewish,
the Holocaust.
The Holocaust. Okay, so that's, you already believe that somebody's genetically predisposed to commit crimes, so that makes them more violent, more fearful, right? So that's one. I'm not making this up. This is what he said, and you can, anybody who doubts me, you can actually Google it. Let's see. He talked about, obviously we know about the eating pets, and then the funniest part about that was when they called him on it. He said, well, we talked to the mayor and they haven't.
Right.
He was like, well, I heard it from somebody on the internet. You're trying to be president of the United States, but you're gonna.
God.
Okay.
You're dependent on it, and I don't even remember what her question was to him, and he went off like,
well, it didn't matter because he never answered the questions. He's always bringing up other stuff.
And I was like, how did he connect that eating pets to whatever it was that she said?
Which is smart because the people,
it throws us off.
Yeah, people will remember that.
Yes.
You can ask me all the 10 most important questions that people want to know. If I target whatever your fears are, that's what they'll remember.
And we talked about it. Everybody talked about it. It was a meme. It was a joke. Mm-hmm. It's not funny, but everybody talked about it.
So this is from the Atlantic magazine. He reported Trump when he was president. Complained about the cost of paying for Guillen's funeral. This was an officer a military person that got killed, right? This is what he said because he told him he would take care of him.
Right.
They said it was going to be $60,000. He said it doesn't cost $60,000 to bury an effing Mexican. So he told that to Mark Meadows. Right,
and told him to not pay it.
Yeah. Oh, he don't pay nobody?
Yeah.
He's still right now. He had his last rally, I think, had to be outside the outskirts of whatever town because he still owed money. He has a career.
But wait a minute, but this is the man that's collecting billions of dollars from all of these billionaires. Like,
yeah, well, he got to pay the court costs. I mean,
there's that. Attorney fees, and there's that.
Yeah. All right. Now, we talked about the ones in the casino, right?
Yeah, that was the first time I had heard that.
I've heard that. Me being from Atlantic City,
I've
heard that too, right?
Yeah, that was the first time I heard that.
So this is what it said. He treated black employees at his casinos differently from the whites, and this is from supervisors.
Wow.
He said a former hotel executive said Trump criticized a black accountant. He said, "Black guys counting my money, I hate it." This is from an executive. He said, "I think that guy is lazy. And it's probably not his fault because laziness is a trait in blacks." Okay. So he was also accused of being...
But the blacks love him.
The blacks love him. Look at my black friend over there. He's one of the smart ones. He said that, right? Trump was accused of being racist towards black people by the former president of Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino, John O'Donnell. He said they paid a $200,000 fine in 1992 after transferring black people and non-black women dealers off tables at the request of a patron. So that's two. He moved them from the floor and he moved them from tables that they don't want black people at. Okay.
So the dealer, the player requested that the dealer be removed, but it's only the black dealers.
Yes. That was just the one lady.
Okay.
The other one, it was like when he had we call them big wigs come through, he would tell them, get all the black people off the floor. Yeah. And I heard this from employees years ago. Wow. So you already mentioned the Central Park 5.
Right.
Where we don't talk about that one. That was another one.
Yep.
He still hasn't apologized for it.
He has not apologized.
But that's everybody thought the same thing.
No, they started that because you started that.
Exactly. So they have he uses the this is weird. He uses the gang MS-13 to disparage all immigrants. Among them, many other statements, he has suggested that Obama's protection of the Dreamers, who are otherwise law-abiding immigrants who were brought to the United States illegally as children, contributed to the spread of MS-13. I fumbled through that whole thing. So basically, he said that the children in the
children from the Dreamers
all contributed to the spread.
The children are the Dreamers.
Yeah, the Dream Act kids, right? Okay. So, cause some of them are not shouldn't be. I don't think some of them are kids now.
Okay.
But anyway, they contributed to the spread of MS-13. So just because they were all right, so that's
just only because that they're Latino that they contribute to MS-13, and it's Obama's fault.
Yeah. So in December 2015, Trump called for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States, including this is the bad part, including refusing to readmit Muslim American citizens who were outside of the country at the time. And his partner at the time, Rudy Giuliani, actually wanted them to put monitoring bracelets on all Muslims in the country.
Oh my God.
Okay. What does that sound like? That sound like some modern day Nazi
Holocaust,
Germany.
Yeah.
Right.
So, okay. I'm just going.
Yeah. These are things that are well documented. It's not like you can't. Anybody out there, don't try to explain it.
Right.
It's well documented.
You're right. And that's why it's hurt my head because I'm trying to make sense of it and I can't make it make sense.
So he had the one where he said a federal judge hearing a case about Trump University was biased because of the judge's Mexican heritage.
I remember
that one? Okay.
I remember that.
In 2017, he said 15,000 recent immigrants from Haiti all have AIDS and that 40,000 Nigerians, once seeing the United States, would never go back to their huts in Africa. And for some odd reason, I don't know why, because I asked him. There's a lot of Africans that love Trump.
Yeah, I don't understand
I
that.
asked them, like, why? Because I talked to them,
Right.
whatever they said. Because one of the women said specifically, says because he doesn't like gays.
Oh God.
Yeah. And he's up front with stuff. In January 11, he vulgarly called for less immigration from Haiti and Africa and more from Norway. I saw that. Not that one. I saw when he gave an interview about that. He was like, we need to cut this immigration out and bring more people in, like, say, from Norway. He has this thing about Norway for some odd reason. Because I guess they got the blonde hair. And
right, and that's his person of choice. His women of choice all have all been blonde.
So he says,
wow,
he regularly demonized dark-skinned immigrants, not just Mexicans or whatever, before the 2018 midterm elections, and his campaign produced an ad about a caravan of migrants traveling through Mexico that was so racist, even Fox News declined to air it.
That's bad.
He claimed the same caravan included criminals and unknown Middle Easterners. Yeah. Oh, here's another one.
This is exhausting.
Yeah, and it goes on and on. During a White House meeting in 2018, he referred to some undocumented immigrants as animals, and later said they would pour into and infest our country. Which he's still saying these things.
Yeah, he's still saying
right?
that, and rape our women, and he's still saying that. Mm-hmm.
He also claimed, without evidence, that migrants would bring. I got totally. would bring in diseases into the country. So that was the bringing the diseases in,
right?
The whole Kenya thing that he's not born in the country with Obama.
Yep. That whole birther movement.
Yeah, and saying that he didn't work hard. All he did was play golf, and so to speak, that he played more golf than Obama in 4 years than he did in 8.
Yes.
He said, this is why he's such a liar. He said that President Obama issued a statement for Kwanzaa, but failed to issue one for Christmas. So he always have stuff against. This whatever it is. Yeah,
he's definitely got his picks, and he absolutely hated the Obamas.
Yeah. Just recently, he said something about Michelle Obama that raised questions that seemed that he might incite some violence too, and Liz Cheney. So he always criticizes prominent African Americans for being unpatriotic, ungrateful, and disrespectful, especially when it came to the Colin Kaepernick thing.
Oh yeah.
He called Puerto Ricans who criticized his administration's response to Hurricane Maria politically motivated ingrates. He said, I did the best. I did more for Puerto Rico than any president.
What? Throw paper towels?
Yeah, so it goes on and on.
Yes,
aside from
this makes my stomach hurt.
Him hiring a white nationalist to his White House, and two of them actually, Steve Bannon and what's the other guy? His name is Stephen too. Stephen something. It's always something, but it's literally, that's a whole new episode if you want to talk about all the different racist stuff that he said.
Yeah, we could go down that rabbit hole forever. So, I just find this just sad. It's just very, very sad. And if you care about women's rights, if you care about your children being able to read the books that they want to read, or books that you would like for them to read, if you care about LGBTQ plus, but maybe people don't care about any of these
history
things.
Well, I'm gonna finish your statement. If you care, you finish with if you care about kids learning true history, real history, a proper education. If you care about seniors and our most vulnerable people getting proper health care,
seniors and children.
If you care about the economy, if you care about the national debt, if you care about basically any human, yes,
just making this world a better place a little bit at a time. Just think about who you're voting for. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's an easy selection, and if you don't, you're basically saying you don't care about all those things. You don't care about him being a racist. You don't care about felons running the country. You don't care about fraudsters running the country. You don't care about sexual offenders. You don't care about you a person empowering others who believe like he does.
Right.
Okay, that's on you. So the choice is clear.
Please vote.
Please vote tomorrow.
And
if you're getting this after tomorrow, please vote yesterday.
And I'm sure we will do a wrap up when we find out who our next Madam President is going to be.
Yeah, and don't make me talk about y'all on the next, because you know what? The next one's going to be explicit. Don't make me talk about y'all. So, and we upcoming we have some good stuff. More or less some nonsense that we got off.
Yeah, we always
have
foolishness and nonsense.
Yes, it's going to be quite entertaining, and we still want to do that last wrap up with our
mental health. We're going to do a part 2. Mm-hmm.
And then also go into suicide prevention.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
thank you. Vote.
Yes.
Thank you, family, for listening to the latest episode of Hot Topics. As usual, listen, like, share, subscribe. Ta.